right. Oh my goodness. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm not a morning person. The mornings are not my friends. They've never been my friend, but alas, what can you do? Well, welcome in. Let me see if I can bump this up just a bit higher. I still am a little bit raspy with my voice, so I apologize ahead of time. And I will only be able to see for about an hour this morning. But, I've got things to say, so I'm going to have to say I'm here. I can't wait any longer. I got stuff today, so welcome. Yes, good morning. Oh, my goodness gracious. It's been these last couple weeks, I tell you, and I think the reason why they've been especially difficult is because we were coming to the end, and I'm not a numbers person, but I believe we were coming to the end of some kind of accounting date. So, which was like September 30th. So that's, I think, why things got a little bit extra crazy, in my opinion. Good morning, Jenny. Hello. Good morning, VC. Welcome. Well, hello, Brian. Welcome in. This is a bit of a bonus live here. Again, I need to make them a little bit shorter. I do have a couple of other things I would like to read, some documents for some lives. So I'll be on doing some lives over the next couple of days. So just going to be shorter. But this, I just had to do it. Yes, VC. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I thought, yeah. All right. Let me get my thoughts together on it, because it's just so awful how the whole situation unfolded. And there was one little tiny glimmer of one of the pieces they told the public that I thought, well, maybe they're right. This little tiny sliver. And then when they came out and said the autopsy, I was like, yeah, okay. No, it's not there. It's awful. It's so awful. It's just absolutely awful. Oh, not yet, Jelly Kelly. I've just been bombarding my tube of you recently, so which is great and fine, but I have like a stack of different. Yeah, you don't need all the backstory. They'll be posted by the end of today or tomorrow. There you go. Let's try to cut the language down here, because I just am like blah 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 for like an hour. Yes, I have been able. The post that I do, you don't need to know this either, but I'm going to share it anyway. After I do a live, there's like a 3-step process in order for them to get up and going onto the tube. And so I have done steps 1 and 2. Just need to do number 3. It will be good to go. Tech issues. Yes, VC. Oh my goodness. So true. All right. Well, excuse me. I think we've had enough time for everyone to hopefully get their notifications. But this morning, again, this will be a bit shorter of a live. I've got basically some tools I want to show you that you can go and hunt down yourself to do a more thorough investigation. But one of the things that's been driving me crazy is we had a recent Supreme Court decision come down. Well, it's not a decision. They don't do that much anymore. We had a Supreme Court holding here. Oh, let me get my. There we are. Yes, exactly. Exactly, VC. Oh, thanks, Gigi. Oh, thanks. Notifications aren't going out. Oh no. Oh dear. All right. Well, I'll I tell you, with this app, everyone. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yes. Oh, I do hope it's lovely. So now, one thing before I get started, is tomorrow the no buy day, October 5th? Is that right? I wanted to ask, and I figured I'd ask my chat because y'all know so much about that. So, oh, thank you so much, big pink bird lady. Ooh, I love big pink birds. Love them. Yeah, it seems like something is happening tomorrow. We've got the big No More Kings number 2 going on in a little while later. But I think tomorrow's like one of those no buy, no spend days. So that's, if that gets confirmed, let me know. And I think that'd be really good. I think those are very helpful, especially anytime you get money involved. The government is like, what are you doing? So here we go. I'm gonna just be talking around these dockets rather than reading through them, so that I can kind of explain a little bit more about what's going on. So this was decided September 26th, so just about a week ago, where we had the Department of State and the AIDS Vaccine Advocacy Coalition are fighting because there's a huge amount of money. What was it? Let me see. $10.5 billion. And they were proposing to rescind $4 billion, right? So we've got the executive office holding up the appropriations that Congress has set out, right? So we're all familiar with that. That's happening in so many cases. So the federal funds are essentially being frozen and they can't use them. So the lower court in this particular case had said you need to do what you can to get those funds up and running while we work on this case. They've already been promised. You need to just follow through with that. So they appealed it. Of course, the Court of Appeals was like, yeah, just, do it, give them what they need now, and then we'll get it sorted out later. The U.S. Supreme Court came back and said, no, you don't need to give them any money at all that was promised to them. And I know we get confused when it says on application for a stay. It's like, what do you mean a stay? The stay means the Supreme Court is pausing the lower court's decision to allow for the funds to be given. All right? So that's kind of how that's been going. Oh, absolutely. Didn't he get impeached for that last time? He certainly did. And I've got those articles of impeachment. That's right. Great minds think alike. So with this coming down, we have this idea again that all of the federal funds that were supposed to be, that had already been allocated, were going to be stopped. All right. So for this particular organization. Now, well, it's huge. It's devastating. It's absolutely devastating. But that's what the Supreme Court did with this. So let's kind of talk about, thanks so much. Let's talk a little bit then about this impoundment. This was confusing me. That's why I went down the rabbit hole, because I kept thinking like, well, wait a minute, right? Everyone's like, Congress has the power of the purse, right? And the executive branch, just kind of implements that. They are not allowed to decide where the money goes. They're just not. But yet we've got executive orders, we've got lawsuits going. And so I was grabbing all of these and putting them all together, and I'm like, I'm missing something. I'm absolutely missing something here. And what I was missing is that under the Impoundment Act, which means the president can't just take his money, our money, and spend it however he wants. He can't just do that. But if he wants to pause it or freeze it or rescind it or any of those things, it's possible for him to do that for a short period of time. And then what he does is he asks Congress to file a bill and he signs it. And that's what's happening here. All right. We've been so busy, and I'm sure many of you probably already know this, and you're like, duh, but I did not know that this was going on. It's only been a few weeks. So what has happened here is that we've had a total of, let me get my little sheet out here. We've had $9 billion specifically for what I'll be talking about here. Hold on a second. I just rearranged my desk, so now I don't know where anything is, of course. Right. Oh, it's just you. Oh, that's so sweet. Yes. That's my hands right here. All right. So we had $9 billion that had been set out by Congress to go to a whole bunch of different places, primarily media like PBS and those kinds of things, and then as well as some foreign aid or foreign, funds to be given to them, right? To about $9 billion. So this was already allocated before. This was already went through all the proper channels. And then Mr. Orange and it was like, no, we're not doing that. We're not going to give $9 billion to media or for foreign aid, whatever. That's not going to happen. Now, again, he does not control the purse. He does not control the money, but he can pause it. And when he paused it, he then went to, what's that little, oh my gosh, I got to remember his name now. The little, like, little grody guy with the glasses, and he's like all like slimy. I can't remember his name. Oh, so many loopholes, I know. Gosh, what was his name? He's been talking. Oh, he did an amicus brief. He's been talking about, the health insurance stuff and continuing that perpetuation. Johnson. Thank you, Bruce Wayne's mother. Oh my gosh, Johnson, everybody. I'm terrible with names. I apologize. All right. So, oh my gosh, that guy, I tell you what, anyway. So he came out and they put a bill together. It passed by a few votes because that's how everything goes. And then it went to the president's desk and he signed it into law. So rather than saying we have an impoundment issue here, there is no impoundment violation if Congress passes a law rescinding the money they've already allocated. So that's what's happening here. All right. And again, maybe a lot of people realize that, but I did not. I've been so stinking busy trying to figure out all of the rest of the garbaggio that's been going on. So when I sat down to think about it, I'm like, there's got to be a mechanism, and there is. And the other thing that I think that's very, very important to remember, I think, with all of Mr. Orange's actions, is that this was something that President Nixon tried to do. A lot of his bad behavior seems to be being mirrored or put into current situations, all right? So Nixon, of course, as we know, had stepped down in order to kind of say he wasn't a crook or to reserve any kind of honor, and because he was doing this kind of crap, so he resigned. But nowadays, apparently, you don't need honor to be president, so here we are. So Nixon had gone in and had withheld $15 billion of funding for essentially, like at that time, what would be considered kind of the equivalent of environmental laws or environmental assistance at that time. So he was withholding all of this money. Now, after that, Congress was like, that's some bullshittery. We're not going to be doing that. And that's why we even have now the Impoundment Control Act, all right? And that's in 1974. So Impoundment Control Act is ICA. Now, this act is 85 pages longer, maybe longer than that. Maybe, hold on here a second, sorry about that. Oh, yeah, so here's the bills where we had the rescissions done. Hold on, I'll take you through that here in a second. But this is a very long bill, and it's, it's not light reading, and especially if you're not good with numbers, like myself. But this is the law that they put into place. And the primary goals of the impoundment law was because of Nixon and because they wanted to make it so that any kind of deferred funding by the president would not be forever. You can only have it for a certain period of time, all right? So you can defer those funds. Again, this is by the president for a short period of time is number one. They wanted in the act. Number two was that any rescission of funds, and those are two different things, right? Deference and rescission. Any rescinding of funds needed to be approved by Congress, all right? So if Congress came in and passed a bill and said, yeah, sure, let's go ahead and rescind it, that was allowable. Now Congress doesn't have to agree to rescind it. They can say no. And if they say no, then we go forward with accountability and violations of the law. But if Congress comes in and says yes, then, everything's good to go. Does everyone follow me on this? Because I'm not really a numbers person, but I think this is really important to understand what process is going on here, because this is some crazy town. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Thanks, VC. Appreciate that. All right. So here you go. So this is the impoundment process, which, now that we've got the little, I don't know. I can't remember his name for some reason. The Johnson guy with the glasses, but he's just like this little angry fella. So I always think of like one of the little guys that was in charge of the bank in Harry Potter. That's why I keep saying little, because I'm like, the little guys that are like, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I digress. Moving on. Moving on here. So next, this is okay, but then we've also got these really unusual situations occurring. Only one has gone so far, and that's what has involved the Supreme Court. And what they're calling it is pockets, like a pockets, hold on a minute, pockets impoundment, or I'm going to put pocket impoundment here, where he is too close to the next funding bill. He's too close to the next appropriations bill to go through the normal process of asking Congress to pass a bill and to agree with him to rescind funds. He's too close. And so in order to do that, he's going to have to kind of fast track it and, fudge those numbers a little bit, which he's so good at doing. This is highly controversial, and many have perceived it as illegal, and probably one of the questions that the Supreme Court will eventually get after they stop micromanaging the crap out of procedure and actually hear what happens in the case. So we've got the normal way here, and then we've got kind of like this slick willy way, where, if you don't care about actually following rules and you want to be a slime ball, that's what you do. All right. More Keebler. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Right, where's all the billions in tariff money going? Great question. That's an excellent question. And I'm not sure, because I know, I believe YouTube is paying for the ballroom. So I'm not sure. It might be going to the plane. Who knows? Who knows anymore? Oh my gosh, who knows? It's crazy town. All right. So there you go. There's your kind of our quick assessment here of what's happening with impoundment. And I found it to be very confusing. This isn't something that I like to spend much time studying because it's just too boring. It's not kind of not my stuff. But I think it's important to know the process. All right. So we have the process. Have there been impoundment issues going on? Yes. Has it all been sorted out through Congress? Well, a lot of it. Some of it has not been. And then we've got this question of the constitutionality of this kind of like pocket rocket. This quick impoundment going through. Right. Again, it's very rare that I would even be be talking about, the cash, but I think it's important to know. So next piece, like a doctor, right? Well, I was thinking it's actually it's a little Einstein's reference if anyone's got kids. Yeah, little kids, there's a little rocket that's the main character in this show, Little Einstein, where they play classical music. I digress, moving forward. So here we go. We've got this. And then I did pull, one of the things that, I believe this administration struggles with is procedure. And so I did pull his specific request for the rescinding the funds here so we can see what he's asking for. There's no surpluses. There's no surplus. We are in debt and then in more debt, and there's no surplusing. The only thing that's going on right now is a kind of like a three-card Monte situation with the money. Like, who's going to get it, right? Are we going to give it to ICE? Is it getting put to somebody else or whatever? So there's all of this kind of like moving and shaking, not prior approval of that kind of garbaggio, but that's what's going on right now. There is no surplus. You know what I'm saying? Just moi. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're in the hole, and we're in a really big hole, and we got this shyster in here doing stuff. All right. So here we go. Let's just take a look. So this is his signature. I don't know. I have a hard time looking at his signature after the whole JE birthday card situation, but whatever. So here's what he sent in as required by law. In accordance with Section 1012A of the Congressional Budget and Impoundment Control Act of 1974, which is this, right? I herewith report 15 rescissions of budget authority totaling $4.9 billion. So this is the quick one. This is on the fast track, okay? So, right, good morning. So that's why we're talking about this $4.9 billion. The proposed rescissions affect programs of the Department of State as well as the United States Agency for International Development and International Assistance Programs. So whenever we're hearing international, all of a sudden you got to remember the immunities case that came out. So any kind of foreign relations is going to be very, very highly scrutinized by this particular Supreme Court, all right? I don't think it's a word, but, who knows anymore? It's crazy. It's like raining cats and dogs. Down is up is down. We're in a crazy world. So, again, the issue here with any kind of foreign relationships are because of that immunity question. And the reason I bring that up is because you'll note that this particular Supreme Court is has basically said multiple times that the president should have carte blanche to do whatever he wants with regards to foreign relations, because that's how it's set in the Constitution according to their understanding of it. So anytime we've got an outside of U.S. involved, there's going to be a lot of leniency there, just so that you don't, get shocked here. Although I don't think any of us can anymore. We've built our tolerance too high. All right. Skipping through here. So we've got the speaker, which is, the little gremlin guy here. And this is just a few weeks ago. So let's just hit the titles here. So we've got some idea of what's being pulled. Report pursuant to blah, 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 blah. So agency, Department of State, Bureau, international organizations and conferences, account contributions to international organizations. So they are proposing to rescind, oh my gosh, $520 million. Their justification is that they're saying that these contributions that were approved assess contributions to the United Nations, affiliated organizations, various other international organizations that do not support major U.S. policies. So this is where the bullshittery comes in, everybody. I can't spin this. This is just straight up awful facts that we're looking at here, all right? So they're pulling $520 million. The UN's involved, various other organizations are involved, because they do not support the U.S. policies or priorities. And they're saying they have been operating contrary to American interests. Like, are you freaking kidding me? That's some crazy banana stuff here, all right? Where you're licensed in, I am licensed in the United States. I don't give away my location because first of all, I put people in prison. Second of all, the trolls here are like hardcore. So we don't want to deal with that. Bologna sandwiches, I agree. All right, so the proposal is consistent with this executive order where he set out his other business. Now, the reason why he's including this executive order is because this executive order is policy. It's a regulation. It's policy. And so he's tying it back in with his letter to Congress so they can make a law that reflects his executive order. All right. Where does he get the budget to decorate the way? I don't know. He's got his own, the White House has its own little pot of money, so to speak. And I have no doubt that the people, crunching the numbers are like, you just get whatever you want. We'll make the numbers fit. Because that's kind of like what he likes to do. And then accountants go to prison for a while. So withdrawing the United States from the ending funding to certain United Nations organizations. All right. Rescission would eliminate funding for the UN regular budget. So he's basically pulling money from the UN, United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organizations. All right, so we got that. That's number one. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, exactly. They're saying that the UN does not support U.S. policies. All right, so next up, we've got another one here. Department of State, international organizations, contributions for international peacekeeping activities. Who wants that? Who wants peacekeeping? And the amount rescinded, $392,534,000,000. So let's take a look and see what the justification is. This proposal would rescind $393 million of the $1.2 billion appropriated for the contributions for international peacekeeping activities, or SIPA account, which was defunded in the president's fiscal year 2026 budget. The SIPA account provides payments for the U.S. share of UN peacekeeping assessments. UN peacekeeping has been fraught with waste and abuse, as evidenced by the ongoing actual exploitation and abuse in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Central African Republic. There have been thousands of credible allegations of sexual abuse and other crimes against UN peacekeepers from across the world, including when the UN personnel who solicited underage girls in Kosovo that resulted in them being kidnapped, tortured, and prostituted. The UN has failed to address this issue by punishing the perpetrators of these heinous crimes. UN peacekeepers were also the source of the cholera outbreak in Haiti after the 2010 earthquake, costing billions and causing lasting harm. Reports have also estimated that billions in peacekeeping contracts, over 40%, were implicated in significant corruption schemes. The rescission would be the first step in engaging in strong reforms across the UN. Can you even believe this crap? What? And they just write it down. They just write it all down on a piece of paper. Oh my gosh. It's so awful. Again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, everybody. This is crap. This is complete crap. And awful and harmful and hurting people, and they don't care, and they have no evidence to support what they're doing, but whatever. All right, other examples of activities funded by this account include: in 2023, 43 people were unalived during a demonstration against the Democratic Republic of the Congo mission, or MONUSCO, and DRC president candidates have threatened to remove the UN peacekeeping mission from the DRC. The Mali mission, or MINUSMA's failure to retain host country consent and protect civilians is another stain on UN's tattered history of peacekeeping. I wonder what he means by protect civilians. Does that mean like protect them from being arrested wrongfully and then put into inhumane detention centers? Is that what he means? Because, I'm not sure. We've got a glass house we might be in right now. All right, so there you go. So that's where that money's going. That's gone. These attorneys need to lose their license. Ooh, which ones? You're going to have to be more specific. There's just too many of them. I've lost track. All right, next. All right, so the account's called Democracy Fund, and we're going to rescind $1,800,000. This proposal would rescind $2 million of that. Well, technically, sir, it's 1.8. Let's be real. Oh my gosh, of the $274 million appropriated in FY 2020 for the Democracy Fund. The Democracy Fund account is intended to fund democracy promotion activities of the Department of State and U.S. Agency for International Development. Well, right, so, it could help Rubio travel around the world to find prisons to put people in practice, DF activities undermine American values, weaken the perception of America abroad. How does that weaken the perception? Whatever. I'm trying to stay on target. Interfere with the sovereignty of other countries, including U.S. allies, and bankroll corrupt leaders. Holy buckets, for example. This account funded gender. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, everybody. I need a drink. I gotta have a drink here. Whew. All right, deep breathing. Find your happy place. All right, here we go. It's okay. It's okay. For example, right, this account funded gender responsive governance and activities geared towards strengthening information, integrity, equality, and democracy for LGBTQI plus populations. The rescission would return funding from wasteful foreign assistance programs to taxpayers in alignment with America First foreign policy. All right. Yeah, there's another one right there. Okay, here we go. Other examples of activities funded by this account include $2.7 million in advanced inclusive democracy in South Africa through, I've been working on my South Africa accent. All right, so I'm going to try it out on everybody so we can take a moment break from this awfulness. Okay, so I've been practicing. Okay, so instead of South Africa, it'd be South Africa. How's that? South Africa. Does that sound South African? Did I get it? I worked really, really hard on it. I got some work to do, but there you go. You're all welcome. Ultimate. That's funny. Oh my goodness. Yes. We're struggling. We're all struggling. Okay. Was it good? Oh, thanks so much, everybody. No, that's all right. I know. I need to work. I need to do better. Do better on that accent. All right. In South Africa, through the Democracy Works Foundation, which has published articles such as, quote, the problem with whiteness, end quote, and, quote, the problem with white people, end quote. One article claims that the white people, oh my goodness gracious. One article claims that white South Africans are not even aware of the hostility they unleash against black people. Another lauds terrorism and communism as an effective means of deconstructing white Afrikaner identity. So we're fighting racism in South Africa, and so we're gonna withhold funds because they aren't. Because of the what? The racism? Are you kidding me? Can get away with... right. Well, I tell you, it's going to take a little time for them to put their story together to make sure it all matches before we'll know the intent behind those boats. That's pretty awful. All right, so there we go. $4 million to the New Alliance for Global Equality to advance the global LGBTQI plus awareness. I always thought it was IA whenever I said it, but I guess I'm wrong. All right. $500,000 to support women in election in the Maldives. So I guess they're saying the women in the Maldives aren't going to get any American money. All right, so it's all there. Like the racism, so they're defunding it. I know. Oh my goodness gracious, everybody. All right, hold on to your popcorn, people. It's gonna be bumpy. Here we go. All right, now this is more reasonable, right? So $56,000. I mean, that's not, the be all end all for an entire, country. It would be for normal people, but whatever. Here's the amount that's been proposed from the Democracy Fund. So let's see why. This proposal would rescind $56,170 of the $274 million appropriated in FY20 for the Democracy Fund. So, goodness gracious, the fund account is intended to fund democracy promotion activities of the Department of State and U.S. Agency for International Development. In practice, the fund funded activities weaponizing programs that undermine American values. Oh my God, this is so awful. So awful. Weaponized programs that undermine American values. Weaken perception of American abroad, like somebody's got some kind of and interfere with the sovereignty of other countries, including U.S. allies, and bankroll the evasion by corrupt leaders of their responsibility to their citizens. That's such crap. I mean, all right. For example, this account funded gender responsive governance and activities geared towards strengthening information, integrity, equality, and democracy for LGBTQI plus populations. The rescission would return funding from wasteful foreign assistance programs to taxpayers in alignment with America First foreign policy. So apparently he doesn't want any money going to any organization in the entire world that has anything to do with the rainbow flag, is apparently what's happening here. It seems like they're copy and paste. We'll have to check and see. They do that a lot. So here we go. Again, this one is the same. We've got the same, the people with the white tea people here, and then the 4 million, and then the Maldives. All right, so we've got all that. Okay, goodness gracious. Here's the next one. Let's just look here. Again, we've got 188,314. And this one, let's fast forward here a little bit so we can get something outside of the democracy fund here. Okay. For example, right. So we're still, no, it's the same. That's exactly the same. I am reading through a letter, a rescission proposal sent from Mr. Orange to Congress regarding the funds that were supposed to be allocated to different places. So the appropriations that were decided years ago have not been implemented, and he's asking Congress to rescind those funds. All right? Yeah. Oh, well, that's President. Well, I mean, I don't know at this point. I don't know whose money's getting wasted at this point, because it's just all a stinking mess. All right, we've got another democracy fund. Fast forward. Let's see if this is the same thing. Yes, still the LGBTQI plus populations. This is exactly the same copy, just the numbers different. And 7. Okay, here we go. We've got another one. This one's a little different. So we have $110 million for the, well, yeah, they're obsessed with gay people. I know. Like, goodness gracious. Oh, they should spend some of that energy actually reading. I think science would help them. All right, here we go. Accounts, peacekeeping operations. Here's the amount. A proposal will rescind $110 million of the $410 appropriated by FY 2024 for the peacekeeping operation account, which was largely defunded in the president's FY 2026 budget. So they're just preemptory going into here and saying any of the awful crap that we put in that big, beautiful bill or the triple B, we're going to go ahead and just get out ahead of it. So because it's not supposed to be in the new budget, let's eliminate it from the current budget, because that doesn't seem right at all. And if it's wrong, they're going to do it. Yeah, they don't understand. I don't understand science either, or numbers, but you can find someone to explain it to you in a way that you can understand, But you have to want to. You have to want to. Constitution, right, all the useless stuff. Hello, Autumn. Hello. All right. Okay. The accounts intended to support peacekeeping and stabilization operations and the counter-extremist threats, including for the UN Support Office of Somalia peacekeeping mission. In practice, the account's a slush fund. What the heck? Oh my goodness. Highlighter time. In practice, this account is a slush fund used to support projects well beyond a core security focus, including hybrid energy power generation pilot projects in Nepal and South Sudan. Yeah, that's awful. You don't want that. At the expense of American taxpayers. Oh my gosh, this is awful. All right, so that happened. Are these docs easy to download? Certainly are. You betcha they are. Let me show you the front page here as I take a little break again from the awfulness. So this is what the what you're going to want to look up here, okay? So it's August 28th, and it is the rescission request by Mr. Orange here, and it's to the Speaker of the House. Again, I'm not using names so that I don't get knocked around in the algorithm. I'm not trying to be inflammatory. Some places are inflammatory, but that is not my intent. All right, so there you go. You can look it up. Print it out yourself. There's responses that can go back and forth as well. All right. $20 billion to bail out Argentina. I know, right? Right? Why is this signature so big? Well, he signed it August 28th. I mean, I don't know. I don't know when all the crazy town happened. It's a lot. It's just a lot, everybody. All right, so, and then annually, $71 million of the funds have been allocated to the Global Peace Operations Initiative to ready other countries' militaries to support UN peacekeeping. Not only are we overpaying in U.S. assessed contributions, we are paying twice to pick up global slack. Well, that's what you like to hear when you're collaborating with others, right? We don't want to do your stuff. Like, I feel that way every day. Mr. President. The rescission would eliminate programs, but will not impact the United States' commitment to the Egyptian-Israeli Treaty of Peace through U.S. contributions to the multinational force and observers. Well, that's interesting. So this particular piece has been carved out as the exception. Yeah, everything is a lot. It is a lot. It's a lot, but, you know, yeah, it is. I don't have anything positive to say after that. All right. Next, $326 million for peacekeeping. Let's see which place is going to be devastated now. We've got Somalia again here. Again, that's the slush fund. Oh, this is the same one, just a different number. Okay, so that one was 110 million. This one's 326 million. I thought we could get something new with the peacekeeping. All right, here's another one for 2,500,000. Let's see. Somalia, yes. So Somalia again, and slush fund. All right, so we are again just copying and pasting and adding a number in here. They use AI a lot. True story. All right, another peacekeeping, 5 million. What do we have here? Somalia, yep. And a slush fund. All right, so done. All right. Okay, here we go. Here's a different one. Development assistance. What? $3,360? What the H is that? I mean, why would you rescind that? Okay, I'm sorry, everybody. I need a minute. So it's $3,360. I mean, that's right? $3,360 rescinded. This to me sounds like it might be something personal here. I know, right? All right, let's look. The proposal would rescind $3,360 of the $3 billion appropriated in 2017 for development assistance. The DA account is intended to fund programs that work to promote resilient societies, but in practice has done the opposite. So I think this is a personal vendetta situation here. Let's see. Many DA programs conflicted with American values. All right. Interfered with sovereignty of other countries and bankrolled corrupt leaders' evasion of their responsibilities. Now, we've seen that before. All while providing no clear benefit to Americans. So this $3,360 is not benefiting in a clear way Americans. So forget it. Projects like electric buses in Rwanda are of negative value to the American taxpayers and American foreign policy interests. The rescission would align with the administration's efforts to return funding from wasteful U.S. agencies for international development programs to the American taxpayers. So like what, Doctors Without Borders? The remaining balance proposed for the rescission are for activities that have completed their goals and are no longer needed for their intended purpose. My gosh. How crappy is this? All right, here we go. Other examples, $24.6 million. Okay, so again, unless this is a typo, This is $3,360. All right. I mean, that's like, I'm not going to say what I was thinking, but it's not that much for in the grand scheme of things. So down here, he's saying 24.6 million to build climate resilience in Honduras. We don't want that. 38.6 million for biodiversity and low emissions development in West Africa. Don't want that either. $13.4 million for civic engagement in Zimbabwe. Why must we be civil in Zimbabwe? No reason. No reason. Oh my gosh. All right. I might have maybe one or two more from this in me, and then we'll move to the next document. I'm starting to get a little spicy here because this is so awful. Right. Oh my goodness. All right. Development assistance. So this is 7 million. See, that's why I'm wondering. Did they just maybe forget a comma? Maybe it was $3 million over here, right? I mean, how petty are you for $3,360? Like, that's like half of Melania's hair appointment, I mean, you can afford that. All right, development of assistance, $7 million. This proposed would send $7 million for against development assistance. Let's see what programs here. Interfered with sovereignty and blah, 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 bankrolled leaders, blah, 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 blah. Project like, this is the same thing. Electric buses in Rwanda. So we don't even have a specific place here. They're just saying buses, realign with the administration's efforts. Okay, and then, yeah, so these are the same. Honduras is hit again. 5 million in Kenya is hit. Right. I mean, yeah, why would you want to help anybody when, okay, I got things I want to say, but I'm not going to say them out loud. All right, and then development assistance here, $31 million. This is a pretty big chunk. We've got another, everything's the same here. Programs work for resilient, same. Okay, here we go. Here's the difference. Projects like baking and beauty therapy in Zimbabwe. Because why? Why would you do that? And land administration in Malawi are of negative value to American taxpayers. The rescission would align with the administration's effort to return funding from wasteful agencies. So $550,000 for holistic monitoring, evaluation, and learning in North Macedonia. $60,000 for listening tours on local development in Timor-Leste. What? Like, no more listening tours, everybody, because that's not directly benefiting the American people. $12,000 for telling the U.S. aid story in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So they can't even talk about the U.S. aid. Like, you can't talk about it if you're in Bosnia or Herzegovina. You can't even do that. This is awful. These people are terrible people. All right, sorry. All right, that's, I gotta fast forward now, okay, everybody, because it's getting to be too much. It's too much for me. Just did that one, and then we've got only one page here left. Let's just make sure. We've got here, let's just look and see. We've got Green Climate Fund, Barbados Blue Green Bank for climate change mitigation, ecotourism in Peru, gone, microinsurance for smallholder farms and micro businesses in Colombia for climate disaster response. All right, so those are all gone. And I already went over those. All right, so there you go. That's uplifting for Saturday morning, right? No. Oh my gosh. All right, I've got another sheet here. Just one second. As I still am getting back into the things. I know, right? Interesting. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that, we have always been a bit of an isolated country over here. All right, lest we forget, right? Since the beginning with France, with Mexico, with Spain. I mean, we've had a lot of times where we're like, this isn't our fight. A lot of times, and that's kind of what led to a lot of the problems that we had after World War One was because, we're like, we don't have anything to do with you. We got our own stuff going on. And then recognized after World War One, if you do that, what can happen? World War II is what can happen. So, I get it. I get what they're saying, but it's also, I think one of our biggest, one of the worst attributes about the U.S., in my humble opinion, is this idea that we shouldn't help. On the other hand, helping is not policing. And so I do have to clarify that piece. If I'm going to go, in my own opinion, I'm going to say, I don't know that we need to be policing, but I think assisting would be all right. Oh, they're not learning from history. And sometimes I wonder if they learned a different history. I really do wonder about that. I'm like, you people must have learned something different than what I did. Oh, exceptionalism. Oh my goodness. Yes. This administration's failed history. Yeah, there's a lot. And again, $20 billion to Argentina last month. Right. And lest we forget, there's no forgetting that with the Argentina situation. All right. So this is just a press release from when they pulled this aid, right? So today, House Budget Chairman, Texas fella, voted in favor of the rescission package requested by Trump to cut $9.4 billion, including cuts to U.S. aid. I know everyone says it's USAID, but I can't help myself. Like USAID, I think it helps you understand what it's for. NPR and PBS to codify cuts identified by the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Now, when they say codified, they mean they wrote it in this bill, right? The rescission bill. So they said, we're pulling money. That's what they're meaning by codifying, all right? And deliver on the promise of rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government. Here. So, quote, get yourselves ready, everybody. Quote, President Trump continues to deliver on his promise to cut wasteful Washington spending and get our nation's fiscal house in order. Quote, this $9.4 billion rescissions package is part of Republicans' plan to right-size our bloated bureaucracy, root out woke programs, again, what's that? We don't know, and rein in reckless spending. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, we can't rein in reckless spending. No. But I mean, I don't really think that that's actually what their goal is. I don't think their goal is to, cut all of the reckless spending. I think their goal is to just find money to give to their friends. That's my honest opinion. I know. Yes, I do. I do need to drink my coffee a little bit more. I want feudalism. Oh, well, it certainly looks that way in many ways. And especially in some of these new bills that are being passed in executive orders, where they're pulling powers from the states and giving it to the feds. There's a lot of that going on. It's quite disturbing. So we gotta stay on top of it. I'm not saying that this is gonna overtake us, because I don't believe it will. But it just means, we gotta stay vigilant here. Right. Siphoning off the taxpayers. Well, of course, exactly. The Achilles heel of capitalism, everybody. The federal government has no business subsidizing multimedia platforms and supporting the politically biased commentary of both NPR and PBS. State-sponsored media is a feature of authoritarian regimes, not free societies. I think these quotes are because they're quoting Project 2025. I think that's what it is, because that's an exact line out of that manifesto. U.S. aid has been used as a tool by Democrats and the radical left to advance their ridiculous and divisive DEI and Green New Deal agendas. Now, I'm going to pass the next ones here so I don't get knocked around again in the algorithm. But there you go with that. Background. Under the Impoundment Control Act, the administration may transmit a request to Congress to rescind previously appropriated funds through a rescissions package. Such a package only requires a simple majority vote in the Senate to be enacted. This is true. That's absolutely true. Good job. Good job, everybody. Point number 1's true. are put into prison. Oh, yeah, oh my goodness. Next, Hill Republicans have been requesting a rescission package to codify Doge cuts. In collaboration with the House and Senate leadership, the administration has assembled a package that totals $9.4 billion. This includes a rescission of $8.3 billion in wasteful foreign aid spending and $1.1 billion rescission of federal funding for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Right. Next, transmittal of package triggers a 45-day clock during which the funds and accounts, including the rescissions package, are withheld from agencies pending congressional action. And then, right, and we do have lawsuits that have been circulating, although at this point, some aren't going to be very useful if they've already put into law the removal of certain funds. So it's going to get technical. Here's some examples. So let's take a look. I thought this was nice. They could give us a list here. So the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, here again, I'm trying to make sure everyone can see. Here we go. NPR requested and received $1.9 million grant commitment to hire more moderate editors and journalists as they recognize their complete leftist bias. What? Did I miss a page? Nope, that's 2. This is 3. Oh my goodness. Oh. All right. Woke and weaponized foreign aid. Oh my goodness. All right. $167,000 for free education and healthcare to Ecuadorian and Venezuelan. Let's make sure we know what's happening. What is this list? So this is what's getting cut, all right? This is where they're saying this is cut. We're removing this, all right? $167,000 for free education, healthcare to Ecuadorian and Venezuelan migrants, $889,000 for electoral reforms and voter education in Kenya, $1 million for voter ID in Haiti, $33,000 for, quote, being LGBTI in the Caribbean, end quote, $643,000 for LGBTQI plus programs in the Western Balkans, $567,000 for LGBTQI plus programs in Uganda. You know, and one thing, can I just say this, for anyone who has studied any kind of Africa, the continent, and history of the countries within Africa, you know, the LGBTQ community, that's totally different than what we do over here. Totally different and incredibly horrific and violent. So, like, that's a real human rights issue going on over in Africa with that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that the people support that, because I've heard actually to the contrary. But these programs were supposed to help. All right, Uganda, done. $8,000, and that's just rude. This is just rude, for promoting vegan food in Zambia. All right, so, all right, $8,000, that's very important. $500,000 for electric buses in Rwanda. Can't have that. $4 million for legume systems research. Oh my gosh. Now you might say, who needs legume research? I tell you what, there are a lot of people, especially with the, I think, WHO, where they go through and find how best to build systems to assist in feeding people, right? So they needed some more advanced systems in order to get their biggest crops, highest nutrient, vegetables essentially going and running. So this is heartbreaking. And if you've met or spoke with anybody that works on, like Professors Without Borders, Engineers Without Borders, they have all been working on a lot of this already. I take a moment to talk about it because I happen to know that they're about specific programs. And I remember hearing about a program specifically in Tajikistan involving tomatoes. So there we go. Legumes in Africa, staying on target here. $67,000 for feeding insect powder to children in Madagascar. I'm not sure that's what's really happening here. I'm not sure. That's not a good way to put that. part of the seed storage. That's so funny. Oh, hi, Dave. I see ya. Unfortunately, Dave, I've only got about 3 to 4 minutes left of voice. So we're just coming down to the final moments. But it's always enjoyable to hang out. And I love that. So catch me on my next one, though, okay? That'd be great. $6 million in net zero cities in Mexico. $3 million for Iraqi Sesame Street. No Iraqi Sesame Street, everybody. None. Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to a lot of stuff out there. All right, $4 million in sedentary migrants in Colombia. $1 million for programs to strengthen the resilience of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and intermex, and queer global movements. So $1 million isn't very much, but it could change things. Oh, you have a comment on Uganda. Okay, well, can you type it out for me? I know I'm so rude to not bring another one up, but I figure by the time I figured out how to get you up and me talking stuff, my voice is gonna be gone. Talk about the World Sea. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff there. The tribes get protein. Well, of course, you've got to use what you've got, right, in that area. I mean, that's important. All right, $6 million for supporting media organizations and civic life of Palestinians. Oh, I'm not sure I'm supposed to say that word. $2.5 million for teaching young children how to make environmentally friendly reproductive health decisions. Gone. Again, gone. No more of that. We don't want that. Oh, my goodness gracious. All right, programs that prop up woke climate change, programs for U.S. universities. $614,000 climate adaptation, including growing coral reefs in the Caribbean. Yeah, we don't want any coral reefs. $135 million in contributions to the World Health Organization, which we've already have an executive order saying we're not going to have anything to do with them. $8 million for the UN Human Rights Council. That's also gone. $158 million from the Lebanon peacekeeping mission, which has been fraught with waste and abuse, as evidenced by its abject failure to contain this, that I'm going to assume would be a terrible word here, to include. Right, so $142 million from the UN Children's Fund, UNICEF. So we're going to pause for a minute and we're going to note $142 million that has already been allocated to them is being rescinded from the UN's Children's Fund. Can you even believe it? I mean, oh my goodness gracious. And I think that's the biggest one too. I think actually that's the biggest elimination. So the most amount that was pulled. I know, right? Oh my goodness gracious. All right. $83 million from the UN Development Program, $33 million from UN Population Fund, $130 million from other IOP programs, which include programs like UN Women. Oh, I was going to say, this is the second biggest one. UN Women, UN Panel on Climate Change, International Conservation Programs, etc. Oh my gosh. All right. So these are the biggest ones, although, there's plenty more. Okay. These are some other rescissions too. So $3 million for circumcision, vasectomies, and condoms in Zambia. This program, by the way, oh my gosh, this program is meant to help so many people. It's just devastating in so many different things that are included in that program. $5.1 million to strengthen the resilience of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intermex, or queer global movements. All right, $833,000 for services for transgender people, mex workers and their clients, and mexual networks in Nepal. All right, the United States Institute of Peace here. Right, he wants the Nobel Peace Prize. Should we give him that? Should we give him the Nobel Peace Prize for taking $142 million away from UN children? That doesn't seem peaceful for me. I might have to make a post on that. All right, focus. So Institute of Peace, which by the way, we actually have 2 lawsuits going right now on the Institute of Peace. So Executive Order 1421-7 eliminated the U.S. Institute of Peace. That's what's being argued, is the elimination. So $1.2 million for the Afrobarometer Public Opinion Survey, $100,000 for Harvard to conduct research models for peace. No peace is going to be researched. We don't want peace being researched. $77,000 for the University of... I can't see who that one is. I don't know. We could pick one. We'll just say what? Columbia, since they're the ones that are like, do whatever you want. University of something, the ethnic trap in deeply divided societies. There's no researching that either. Whew. All right, everybody. So that was the last piece of that bit of shenanigans. Again, if you're wondering what this is a press release here. So House passes rescissions package, codifies Doge cuts, and this was June 13th. And so this was actually put out before he wrote the letter to the Congress. So this includes other stuff. So we're looking at 2 different sets of dates here. All right, so the $3,000 included in that summer. Yeah, $3,000. $3,300 is being included, right? And I mean, that's just kind of like being a jerk. That's not even... Yeah, House side has it. Right. And again, I'm not using this in order to, support anything, but I think it's going to give us a pretty accurate ballpark figure for a lot of these different cuts, at least as far as I could tell from my research of what's been going on here with that. So let me wrap us up here. It took a little longer than expected. Oh my God! Of course they are. Jody, yes. So I think it's important, but it's only important for people who care, and there are many that do not. So I would tie this also in again with our impoundment theme. Remind everybody that our first articles of impeachment against Mr. Orange had to do with the withholding of funds to Ukraine, right? So we had some funding issues going on because the president decided he wasn't going to comply with what the legislature said for money. So impoundment was actually a little piece of this. Of course, it's not going to make the news because it's not very, exciting. But here we go. When we're talking about the hoax, there certainly wasn't any hoax regarding him holding on to money that was supposed to go to the Ukraine. So that's important. If you want to look that up, that's available as well. Now, for those of you that want to do a little extra credit work, not required, but if you're really interested in what's going to happen here, because again, we've got cases that are going to be in front of SCOTUS. The AIDS case has been kicked back down, but will be kicked back up again. So if you're wondering, we do have precedent on this. And this is a case from the U.S. Supreme Court in 1975, Train v. City of New York, and where they set out and they say, the president can't just control where the money goes. The money goes where Congress tells the money to go. Again, he can step in and be like, well, let's freeze this. Let's look into it. Or ask Congress, can you pull this money back? He can do that, but he himself cannot pull this money. And I think that's so important to remember, as a lot of us are like, oh, Congress isn't doing anything. They're just not doing anything. They're doing stuff, and it's harmful. So just kind of giving you a heads up about that. So if you need a little different issue to write or email your your elected person about, something a little bit fresh and different, you can ask them, like, why'd you agree to rescind the funds for UN children? So that's always a good one. Spending money on all that guy, no, right, Roger? Woo! Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy town. Right. So there's still, I mean, but what I wanted to put in here though is this idea is overwhelming. If you think of, he's got the Supreme Court, he's got Congress, he's in charge of everything. It's overwhelming. So what I'm trying to show you here is the law is actually being followed here. It's that Congress, is playing their role to assist him. So, just kind of keep that in mind. Because why? Because midterms, that's why. Midterms. All right. I know, Jennifer. I agree. It's just us in our little corner here, our little carved out corner of the interwebs where we know what's happening, and we take that knowledge and share it with others. Oh my gosh, Blue Horizon! I know, right? I mean, seriously, UNICEF? Are you kidding me? Like, freaking A, man. Let's just look at that number again. It's the largest cut out of all of the cuts here. $142 million from UN Children's Fund. It's just absolutely atrocious. All right, now on that light note, everyone, I will go ahead and sign off for now, doing my shorter lives these days. Oh my gosh, I do have multiple other things I do want to come and do a live on. I'm not sure exactly when I'll be doing it, but we'll do some little short lives to catch everybody up before we jump back into the week. So have a good rest of your day, everybody, and just turn your notifications on so you know when I come back. Yeah, Indiana Jones. That's my favorite one. How'd you know that, Kristen? Oh my goodness. All right, have a good one, everybody.